Welcome to Streams of Income, hosted by best-selling author and entrepreneur Dr. David Powers, where we discuss streams of income, passive income, residual income, and even why there are dinosaurs and zombies in this intro. Fasten your seatbelts and get ready to dive in.
Hey everybody, welcome to the next episode of the Passive Income Engines live training. We are doing part 2 of Home Business Tax Savings Made Easy. So I'm going to be going through this book a little more. Hope you're enjoying these lessons. Hope you enjoyed the previous one. There were lots of disclaimers and things like that on the previous one. So if you happen to watch this one, I'm also trying to do these where it's self-contained information. So if you don't want to watch the whole series, you can watch some of these. You can watch a later one and don't worry about catching up on don't worry about missing anything. I do want you to go catch up on the previous ones, but if you get them out of order, anything like that, no worries. It's kind of all self-contained. The information I give in each one is going to be good for that one, but you can build on that by watching the other ones, and be sure to tune in for any new ones. Even though we're not doing the live office hours anymore, my goal is to keep releasing these on Tuesdays. And so if you want a new episode, keep an eye out in the Facebook group on Tuesdays for that. And, if I happen to miss one, might have it every now and then. If I'm on a trip or something, I'll try to pre-record though and release them on Tuesday anyway. But I'm doing these actually on Tuesday right now. It's Tuesday at about 1:30. And so just got back from lunch and a hike to the mailbox with the kids, and let's get going. So I'm not a tax guy. For any real tax information, tax advice, anything like that, contact a certified professional tax person. I do not work for the IRS or any other tax agency. And so what I'm doing is presenting the ideas in this book and lots of opinions, but my opinions are my own. Have I covered that well? I mean, pretty much just, anything I say here, agree, disagree, but check it out first. If you get in trouble for doing something bad with the IRS or any other organization or government entity, it's not my fault, man. I'm sorry, but it's not my fault. All right, so let's go. All right, so I'm going to read this, though. This is pretty good on page 13 here of Home Business Tax Savings Made Easy by Ronald Mueller. I strongly believe we should each willingly pay Uncle Sam every penny required by law. But the law does not require any of us to overpay. Very important there. All right, so basically it's talking about these deductions. It says here, the deductions described in this book are 100% legal, ethical, safe, proper, and honest. Now, here's the thing. We've talked before about how big the tax code is. So big that a lot of the people that work for the IRS don't even know anything other than the specific part they work on. So there is a chance you could get audited and they say you did something wrong. I mean, there's nothing, you get audited for any reason. You don't even have to do anything wrong to get audited. That's a periodic checks and balances. It shouldn't be the fear-based thing that it's turned into, but that's exactly what it's turned into. It's turned into a very punitive, fear-based thing. I've actually seen recently the other day, I haven't confirmed this, so this could just be something I saw on the internet. But I saw the other day some kind of announcement that the new Secretary of Defense was sent an audit notice. And it's got people wondering with the timing of it if it's repercussions of the new administration. So you never know. And it doesn't matter what administration you're under, people fear the IRS. And it shouldn't be that way. The government should be here to serve us as the people, not the people serve the government. And what I found, not just with the IRS, but many government agencies, is they build to a point where their job is no longer to do the thing, whether it's taxes, education, the military, any agency. Take any agency from the local level on up to the top. They build up to a point where they're no longer just there to do the thing, to serve the American people. They eventually turn into an agency that basically exists to keep itself going. It exists to continue funding itself. And that's a dangerous thing to do in government. So let's keep moving on though. All right, so When you run into a tax professional, though, because some of y'all either already have them or will consult them based on information I'm giving you, it says here you shouldn't have to fight with your tax preparer about the legality of deductions. So here's the thing. Option one, when your tax advisor says one of these deductions is not legal, point them to the source. And by source, Mueller is talking about an actual IRS source. And you can go to irs.gov. Actually, usually what I do is I just go to Google and I search just a blanket search for what I need. So I would look up when I wanted to get a hold of the tax book describing farm taxes, which I have to file. Not many of y'all probably filing those, but I think it's a Schedule F. I just went to Google and Googled IRS farm tax documents, and it sent me straight to the irs.gov website where I could download. And all the IRS documents are downloadable. You can find those really, really easy. All the simple ones, usually you can find at your library around tax time. And so they give them away free. And so it's a lot of paper that the government's printing for those things because some of the books are like huge. I usually just download the PDFs. I'll print out things that I really need to focus on or underline, things like that. All right, so option one, when the tax advisor says they're not legal, point them to the IRS source. When they consult the source, they can arrive at only one conclusion. The deductions described there are 100% legal, ethical, safe, proper, and honest. All right, so it's not your tax pro's fault. They didn't know about them. They never had an opportunity or an incentive to learn about the deductions until you pointed out, obviously. And so option two, if your current tax pro does not want to update their education about small business deductions, and if you're not willing to continue overpaying your taxes due to their lack of information, the option is to look for another tax pro. Now, one great option is the Dave Ramsey website. You can find tax pros, investment pros, insurance pros. I think you can still find tax pros on Dave Ramsey's website. Also, Dave Ramsey's website, if you want to do a search for tax ideas, things like that, that's another excellent source that I use sometimes because Dave is very capitalist and entrepreneurial minded. And you can bet Dave Ramsey is smart enough and employs people smart enough to advise him on taxes. And usually he will put that information out there. So if you have a question about a particular deduction, or let's say an interpretation of a deduction, sometimes I'll Google Dave Ramsey and then the specific thing, like Dave Ramsey farm taxes, for instance. But I would be more specific than that, especially with some of these deductions that you're going to get into. I brought up the interpretation word. That's another thing you have to be aware of, is that because the tax code is so weird and huge, a lot of times it doesn't come down to anything as simple as, oh, here's the rule, here's what it states. Sometimes it is open to interpretation by the by the IRS person, the IRS agent, whatever you want to call them, but the official government person. So be careful with that. All right, let's see. All right, let's carry on here. Ooh, listen to this. Remember, this is a couple years old. The working American's average wage today is $30,000. That works out to $14 an hour. Not much, but that's before taxes. After taxes, the average American worker only takes home less than $9 an hour. So you could find the new numbers for that if you want to look them up and Google that, but $14 to $9 an hour, most people don't realize that. That's why I encourage everyone, to, even if you're a W-2 employee and you love the job you have and you want to stay as a W-2 employee, start a small business. The deductions that are made available to you as a small business owner, and we talked in the last lesson, so refer back to that. We talked about the difference between a business and a hobby that might make a few dollars. Big difference. And with the IRS, there would be a huge difference that could land you in legal trouble. So I'm not saying monetize your hobby. What I am saying is start a small business. And we covered last time what makes that difference. Thank you. My daughter is actually my personal barista, and she grinds my coffee beans. She makes all my coffee drinks, and she just brought me a heaping big mug of coffee. I'm not a UK fan, but I love Tervis cups, and so, hey, it works. It's a good size for a small after-lunch coffee. So start a small business. Even as a W-2 employee, I mean, as a W-2 employee, if you start a small business with all the profit intent, consistent and regular, all that good stuff, you can, at that point, look at tax time as an income stream, because I promise you'll end up bringing money home instead of what you're sinking into the IRS from your W-2 taxes. All right, let's see. All right. Oh, this is good. I was looking to see the continuation of this sentence. Why then do most people freeze in their tracks when offered information on how to reduce their taxes? Which is exactly what I'm doing here. So why do most people freeze in the tracks and not take advantage of these opportunities? Number one, fear of the IRS. And like I said before, nobody should fear a government entity if you're not doing something wrong. But we do. We've been conditioned to do that because of the way they operate. All right, number two, fear of the time it'll take to keep detailed records. I mean, I am a records, spreadsheet, paperwork, logistics nerd to the extreme. And even so, I keep probably more and better records than 99% of the people I know. But I know in a group like this, there's a lot more of you out there in this group that are probably like me. In the vast majority of the population, not many people are like us. But it still doesn't take me that long to keep all the records that I need. And I keep everything digital now. And the IRS finally changed things to where they'll accept digital files of receipts and records and things like that. So it really saves on the paperwork burden. Also, you can scan those things in a way that the computer recognizes, dates, amounts, places, all that kind of thing. All right, and then number three, not fully understanding what deductions are legal. That's why you always listen to or pay attention to a book or an advisor or somebody that is quoting IRS sources. It's very important. That'll help keep you out of trouble, and you don't have to worry about number three, about the legal deductions. So when you understand the law, there's no reason to fear the law, right? Well, yeah, that's iffy. When you obey the law, there's no reason to fear law enforcement. That's not always true either. But good record keeping helps keep you safe. All right, so let's see. Let's skip ahead a few pages. All right, so here we've got a thing about, all right, I'm going to do this section and then we'll probably close it out for the day on this lesson. But the United States has two tax systems and you might be in the wrong one. So there is a tax system. First type of taxpayer is the employee. The second type of taxpayer is the business owner. Now, if there are any fans out there of Robert Kiyosaki's books, he goes into great detail about the mindset of the employee versus the business owner. And he even talks about the self-employed business owner as somebody that's different. A self-employed business owner, usually that person basically is the job. Because, like my dad, he works in construction and has his own business, but without him, the business doesn't exist. You're basically an employee. It's just you're the boss and the employee. A business is different. A business can operate without you. A business has a team. It means you're not doing everything. But as far as taxes goes, self-employed and business owner, it's the same category. All right, so let's look at the first type of taxpayer, the employee. Employees are W-2 wage earners, and they work for someone else. Most taxpayers fall into this category, and there are very few, almost minuscule tax deductions available to employees. Those include mortgage interest, real estate taxes, deductions for dependents, gifts to church or charity. Y'all need to be doing more of that. You need to support your church. Don't neglect tithing. That should be the top of your budget. Get that tithe out first. Give the money back to God first, and you can take it off your taxes. That's an added bonus. Aside from the blessings from God for that, an added bonus is you can take it off your taxes. And then also contributions to a retirement plan. Essentially, for employees, it's a three-step process. Number one, they work hard to earn a decent wage. Step two, they immediately lose a huge chunk of those hard-earned wages to taxes. And then step three, they get to live on the leftovers, which they call take-home pay. All right, the second type of taxpayer is the business owner. Business owners, on the other hand, get to write off lots and lots of expenses. And we'll go down some of the examples here. Oh, wow. Several pages of examples. So I'm going to go through all these examples and then we'll wrap up today, because if you're listening to this and you're able, you may want to actually get out a pen and paper and just jot notes on some of these. Or hit pause, listen to it, rewind it, whatever you got to do. Business owners have a very different three-step tax system. Number one, step one, earn revenues from selling goods or services, or in my case, in a lot of your cases, both goods and services. Step two, Spend whatever you need on operating expenses to keep the business financially solid. And then step 3, pay taxes only on whatever's left over. So after the expenses, not before. The long list of deductions commonly available to business owners include, and so this is not even everything. This is just samples of some of the most common ones. So I'm going to run down the list pretty quick. I'll comment a little bit more on some of these. And some of them I can tell by looking at them. He actually mentions fax machines. So you can see how outdated. I haven't seen a fax machine in about 10 years. All right. So mortgage interest or rent, utilities, cleaning crews, to dust, vacuum, empty the trash, that kind of thing. I actually pay my kids for that kind of thing, or I don't pay them. That's my cost of living in my house. So they are my cleaning crew. But as we're going to see in future chapters, there are ways to pay your kids. And as a business owner, you get to deduct all the employee stuff. And so there's a certain amount you can pay your kids that tax-free. And we'll get to that, specs on that, but something to think about. Computers, copiers, telephones, I mean, basically just office equipment, advertising, paper, pens, and postage, bank fees on business accounts, office furniture. And, you know, as long as it's within reason, because actually this is my home office right now in this old farmhouse that we own and that we purchased. Man, the beard going behind my ear. This is my home office that's here now, but we have dreams of building a new house, building a separate, like a barn dominium type warehouse, that kind of thing, where my office is going to be. Part of that is when I do build the dream one, you're not going to see all this old stuff behind me. I'm going to actually get some nicer furniture, a nicer background for podcasts and videos, because I'm doing a ton of those now. And so you're going to see some nicer stuff behind me, some of the same decorations. Chucky will probably still be there. And he's looking at me, but all that's going to be deductible because it's my office, the office furniture. And we're talking desk, sofa, all that kind of stuff. All right, credit card annual fees for business-only cards. Depreciation, painting, wallpaper, carpeting, other repairs and maintenance, legal and professional services, phone bills, cell phones. Oh, he actually mentions pagers. That is getting old school. The cost of goods sold. If you're selling actual physical goods. I know one of our members has a pretty nice business making wreaths. Wreaths like you'd hang on the door, that kind of thing. Decorated Christmas time, all that. And so that's, you know, any materials for that. That's the cost of goods sold. We've got professional literature, which would include business magazines, books. I've got a lot of these books behind me are business books, like all of Russell Brunson's books from ClickFunnels. That's all professional literature for my business. If I have a subscription to Inc. magazine or Success magazine, anything like that, that's for my business. That's deductible. Let's see, services performed by independent contractors, supplies and materials like paper, ink, printer ink, that kind of thing. Travel, including transportation. And what there are more specifics we'll get into about travel, but generally most travel is tax deductible. And if you're like me, you tend to, I like to do road trips when I travel for business, like longer road trips, and include fun things on the trip. Some of that is tax deductible, some of it isn't. We'll get into that later. Taxes and licenses, special work clothing or uniforms. There are some aspects of my business that require more tactical clothing, and that's deductible. Also, I do a lot of videos, UGC videos, that kind of thing, and I wear a kilt in a lot of those. That's deductible. It's a uniform for a photo shoot, and so tax deductible. Let's see, security, lots of different types of insurance are deductible, company cars, and even boats, it says. We'll get into info on that because that might seem a little interesting. Contributions to the employee retirement plan, holiday cards, gifts, postage. And he ends this section with, or this small section, there's a bunch. Any other expense that qualifies as ordinary and necessary to operate the business. Let's see, he going on further, internet access fees, merchant discount fees, web hosting fees, internet service, see, computer extended warranty costs. He's just given lots of examples. Database backup, software, antivirus, spyware, firewalls, routers, peripherals, surge protection equipment, conference call services like Zoom. My Zoom subscription, which I'm recording this on, is tax deductible as a necessary part of my business. I'm literally using it for business right now. Now, it doesn't mean that I can't make a Zoom call to my parents or something. If I wanted to, they wouldn't. But if I wanted to, I could. But that subscription is paid for with my business. Let's see if you operate. Okay, further on, commissions, professional fees, sponsorships, signs and promotional materials, continuing education, seminars and conferences, printing, copying, and faxing. I sell a lot of books. Not just I read these, but well, my publishing company, including my books and books that I've published for other people, my company, Pressure Tested, has published. It's got to be about 60 books right now by me and other people. And so anytime I have printed versions made, sometimes I'll print a bunch and take to a conference with me where I'm speaking, and I'll autograph those and sell them. And so the cost of those books, that's a necessary part of my business. And so printing, if you're in I don't know, a professional field like engineering, architect, things like that, printing the big paper blueprints and things like that, a necessary cost of doing business. Now, here's the thing, and I'm going to go ahead and put my paperclip here because we're going to jump into this next part next time. Here's the thing. I'll say this about deductions and things like that, is if you ever do, I was checking to make sure I was recording. I did that the other day and didn't record an entire lecture. It was good too. Second one was almost as good. But here's the thing, if you ever get audited and you can point to an IRS source. Now, if you pull up the IRS small business documents, and by documents, I mean, they're like books, and you can get the PDF, or you can have them, you can put in and they'll send you a free paper copy if you want to keep that on the shelf or just have it available. Works great when you're teaching classes and can put that in people's hands. But if it's listed in the source, it's pretty easy to say to the IRS agent, here it is. It's in your document. Let's take that off the audit. I'm legal. I'm good. However, let's say you're doing something as an architect or an engineer. I'll just list those two because they're fairly similar, like cousins. And I realize if any of you are that, I know they're different, but they're like cousin industries, related industries, so to speak. If you can find other similar businesses that are doing the same thing, and have that to show, maybe a website, maybe a project, a case study, anything like that, and prove that that is a necessary and regular way of doing business in that occupation, then that's how you can prove to the IRS that you're doing good. And so always keep things like that in mind. There are some jobs I've had in the past where the mindset had to be, because of how litigious the world is right now, the mindset had to be, don't do it unless you can prove it. And so we would do things that we had to videotape. It's like cops wearing body cams. It's there to prove that they did the right thing, to prove that maybe an allegation somebody makes against them is false, that kind of thing. Sometimes, though, it gets them in trouble because they did screw up. But anytime you do something business-wise, if you're trying to deduct it, or you want to smooth the waters with the IRS, make sure that you are good. You can prove it. You can back it up. You can prove that other businesses do it. It's perfectly ordinary for your occupation. That's some risk management you should do along the way. And so always have a mindset to risk management with anything dealing with taxes and the IRS. Be able to prove it, back it up, see that other people are doing it. Just want you to, I know I've said it like 4 different times already, but I really do want you to have that mindset of risk analysis and risk management with anything dealing with the taxes. And although I personally, I don't like most tax professionals because they fall into a couple categories. And you've got the lower tier, which is like the Liberty Tax, H&R Block, places like that have offices that you go into, and they'll do the bare bones and charge you a lot of money for something you should be able, as an adult American taxpayer, you should be able to do your own taxes if you're a W-2 employee. There shouldn't be a problem. But people will go in and pay those places. To me, that's a lower tier. Then you've got accountants. accountants that accountants and CPAs I find mostly are just IRS reporting agents. They don't work for the IRS, but they will report you in a heartbeat. They won't do anything that seems the least bit risky, or to them risky is they hadn't heard of it before. So that's the next tier is accountants and CPAs. And so, just if you know any or can find one that is very entrepreneurial minded, that is very, I want to save you as much money as I can for a business. I want to help you forecast for the future and help set budgets and things like that. You better hire them quickly because they are far and few between, or few and far between. Doesn't matter. I think you get the gist of what I'm saying though, because if you can find one of those people, hire them, hold on to them, because it's been my experience with a lot of my clients and my dad's construction business over the years that most accountants and CPAs are just paper pushers that don't care anything about you or your business. You want to hire somebody like Dave Ramsey says that has the heart of a teacher and is looking out for your best interest, not the IRS's best interests, and not even necessarily their best interests. They need to be ready and willing to defend you in an audit if that happens. My dad's accountant, they do everything by the book and everything as easy as possible, and then want a big payment every April when the taxes are done for the privilege of making sure that they're safe from the IRS, not that my dad saved any money with his business. And so be careful about that. All right, so that concludes this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're looking forward to more. If you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the comments, or actually, instead of the comments, to make it better for other people to see, if you have any questions about any of these classes, do a new Facebook post inside the Passive Income Engines Facebook group. And that way it'll pop up for everybody to see, because I guarantee if you've got a question, 10 or 50 other people probably have the same question and they're glad you asked. There will be times that some of you will ask questions in the Facebook group, and I will make a comment on that just so I'll see the next comments and hopefully see the answer that one of our experts in the group can provide about something specific. So if you have any questions or want to get in touch, or want me to go in a different veer into a different direction with these classes, you just let me know, and we'll try to be responsive to that. All right, y'all take care. Have an amazing day, whatever day it is that you're watching this. Hey guys, guess what? We have another cool thing. My publishing company, Pressure Tested Publishing, just came out with quite a few new books recently from different authors, and one of them is another book from my daughter, Astrid Powers. Now, she's been on here before to talk about her first book. What was it called?
Pewie's New Friend.
Pewie's New Friend. It's a story about a skunk and a unicorn that make friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, she came out with another book. And so we do these books for language arts assignments, or she does writing for language arts assignments in homeschool. And we figure, well, why not just go ahead and publish these books? And she's actually making some money. If every book that sells, she gets the lion's share of the royalties from that book. And so that's pretty cool. So tell us about this new book, the ABC. Oh, don't want to put it in front of your face. The ABCs of Dog Breeds. And if you're listening to this on the audio, you go ahead and hold it there. If you're listening to this on audio, be sure to check out the video edition, because you can actually see, well, you can see her and the book. So tell us, what's this book about?
It's meant to be a fun way to learn the ABCs and about dogs.
Okay, ABCs and dogs. What grade level would you say? Like elementary, middle?
Elementary.
Elementary, but I guarantee you parents will have fun doing it with your kids as well, right? Here, let's go ahead and show them a couple pages. So this is pretty cool. So look, this is that's my autograph copy. See there? Got the fancy autograph inside. But she has, like, there's A for Alaskan Malamute. Malamute, or is it Malamute?
Malamute.
Malamute, okay. And plus there's an Alaskan Malamute word find. And so each ABC page, there's a dog that corresponds with that letter, but there's also an activity page for every single one. And so let's find another one here. Rhodesian Ridgeback. That's the one that we're wanting, right? Matter of fact, just today, I put our names on the waiting list to find out when a breeder is going to have a new round of puppies for Rhodesian Ridgeback, because that's what we're wanting to get. So what's the activity for the Rhodesian? What does the Rhodesian Ridgeback get for his birthday? And so there you see a little picture there. There's the dog, and you get to draw what he's going to get for his birthday. What would you draw?
Dinosaur friend.
A dinosaur. Wow. Like a live dinosaur, or like a dinosaur toy?
A live one.
Might as well make it a live dinosaur if we're just having fun with it, right? You know what? I would draw an intruder, like a trespasser coming onto the farm without permission. and our Rhodesian gets a hold of him, and we just like, hey, there's your new toy. Yeah, that's what I would do. That's pretty cool. So if you like dogs, or you know what, if you're trying to learn your ABCs, kids or parents, buy the book. Like I say, the royalties go to her. She gets to make some money to help fund and create her dog training business because that's what she's wanting to do for a living when she grows up. So the ABCs of dog breeds, Astrid Powers. You can find these on Amazon. I'll put a link in the show notes. But yeah, buy some books, fund her business. It's pretty cool. It's a win-win for everybody, right? And you get to learn about dogs. That is pretty awesome. Anything else you want to say before we hit the record button?
Don't think so.
All righty.